I'm going to be discussing some football stuff. So as you guys know, the 2021 preseason is about to start in the NFL, and there are lots of teams that still need to figure out which players are going to play where and what their team is all about and like what goals they should be setting. Today, we're going to be talking about the Carolina Panthers. So here are 5 pros and cons about the 2021 Carolina Panthers. Number 1, I would say, would be the first pro is that the Panthers are relatively young. They only have a couple players that are above the age of 30. They have a bunch of great young stars. It's built for the future. They're not exactly built to win right now. And that is where we have the first con, which is it is not built to win now. This group it still needs to develop. As I said, they are still young. They're not everyone is in their prime quite yet. Some players are just entering their prime. Some of them have something to prove. All right, our second pro is the offense should be electric. And that's just showing how many stars are on the offense. Of course, Christian McCaffrey is going to be healthy. DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson make a great duo. The rookie, Terrence Marshall, they drafted him in the second round, I believe, of this year's draft. Dan Arnold should help out the tight end game. Panthers really Ian Thomas did not really contribute that much last year. And so that would make our second con is that the defense is still kind of iffy. They did sign AJ Boye. They signed breakout star last year, Son Reddick. They signed Denzel Perryman. They did lose Trey Boston. They also lost Kawan Short, but those two weren't making that. It wasn't that too big of a deal to lose them. And one problem I do have is that the defense is kind of inexperienced. The secondary, AJ Boye, Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, those are some pretty good players, but they're not exactly at the point where they can take a team to the top. There's Justin Burris is not going to help them as strong safety. He might actually be a liability in the secondary like he was most of last year. They do have a new middle linebacker, which was needed after Luke Kuechly retired last year. Denzel Perryman, he's okay. The Chargers released him because they wanted to play Kenneth Murray more, their rookie. I think Denzel Perryman is a good short-term option. He's not something that the Panthers can stick with for the long run. He is in his prime, but he is not exactly a star right now. And so here is the third pro. And the third pro, I would say, is that Matt Rule is clicking with this team. And, that's a good thing. You always want to have your coaches and players, always in sync, no matter what side of the ball it is. You always just want to have that going, no matter if it's the head coach or even the QB coach or the defensive lineman coach or the defensive coordinator. You always want to have that to be in sync, And the players have really showed that they've liked Matt Rule. They've been in sync with him throughout this training camp. I think that's going to be a huge asset. And the third con is that Sam Darnold is a big question mark. And as you guys know, Sam Darnold was traded from the Jets to the Panthers this offseason before the draft so that the Jets could take Zach Wilson, Panthers traded away, I believe. It was a late round selection, I'm not exactly sure which round, and a second round pick from next year, so that would be the 2022 NFL draft. They get the Panthers' second rounder. And Sam Darnold has had a lot to prove. He had 3 tough years in New York. He struggled immensely. I think you guys saw that. And he has a lot to show. He does have a lot. He has more weapons. Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, the rookie Terrence Marshall. All those guys we talked about earlier. But he was given many chances to succeed in New York. It wasn't horrible. He is reunited with Robbie Anderson. He did work with Robbie for 2 years before Robbie was released by the Jets last offseason and signed with the Panthers in free agency. But I do think if Sam Darnold does open up a new opportunity for the Panthers to really get back on track, but right now I don't know if that's really possible with the struggles that Sam Darnold has had throughout his career so far. All right, the fourth pro is that with the addition of Sam Darnold, it gives the Panthers offense a new look. The Panthers really haven't had a young quarterback. Teddy B, he was in his prime. He was in his late 20s. He didn't do that much though. Panthers really haven't had a young quarterback since Cam Newton, really, during the Cam Newton days. But Cam ended up aging. He ended up regressing and was just filled with injuries and got released eventually. It does open up the Panthers a new chance to develop Darnold a little better, improve him, get used to the new system in Carolina, fix up the problems that the Jets that he had while playing on the Jets. And one thing that is for sure that is good is that he is no longer coached by Adam Gase. That's a really good thing. I don't think anybody would ever want to be coached by Adam Gase. Jamal Adams kind of had the right idea by leaving New York because of Adam Gase. All right, the fourth con is that the offensive line is kind of a problem. The only really reliable, in its prime, lineman that's currently on the Panthers is Taylor Moton, which they just signed to an extension after franchise tagging him. I think there's just so many holes, the left guard position, the right, especially the guards and left tackle. The center, Matt Paradise is a good center. There shouldn't be a problem there, I don't think. He is kind of aging, but he should be good for the short term. Besides that, the offensive line is not that great. It's never really been that amazing. They have had some good stars. If you look back to 2015, Andrew Norwell was in his absolute prime. He was a beast with the Panthers. Ryan Khalil, Jordan Gross. I'm not sure if he was on the 2015 squad. I don't think he was. But anyways, the final pro and con. We'll start off with the pro. The pro is that the Panthers' future looks excellent. They have a bunch of young guys, like I said. Their future looks really bright. They have one of the brightest futures in football. They look like in a few years they could become a powerhouse in the NFC if their talent is utilized and they continue to add talent around Darnold and onto that defense, because you can't have a Super Bowl winning team without a defense. The Panthers aren't quite there, but in a few years they will be. with all their young studs that they have currently, I think that Panthers fans should be excited for years to come. And the fifth and final con is that the Panthers are going to need to rely less on the offense. So, I'm not sure, this is more, you can criticize me for putting stuff in different ways just to extend the video, but I don't really care. I'm just trying my best here. The Panthers offense has been really good for the past few years. It's always been good. You've always had pretty good teams, even if the quarterbacks weren't always that great. You look at last year, you had 4 people. Oh my god, I just put up 3 fingers, but you had 4 people. That's 4. 4 people with 1,000 yards or more from scrimmage. You did lose 2 of those players, but Christian McCaffrey is better than Mike Davis. I think it does suck to lose him, but Christian McCaffrey, as long as he stays healthy, he should be okay. But the problem was the defense was just not good last year for the Panthers, and I think that's probably what cost them some games. If you look at the Broncos game, the offense didn't play that horribly, but the defense just kept letting up points and big plays. And if you look at the Washington football team game, the offense played pretty good too, but the defense, that's when it really clicked, and that's when the Panthers looked like they were a pretty good team. So, thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe. I'll have more NFL content coming throughout the season, and probably some more Madden content with Madden 22 coming out in just a few days. I will be sure to keep you guys hooked up on that. So, peace.